Jack shoved the knife up Alex's anus. Alex moaned in pleasure and asked for just one more knife. "Jack, baby, please, I know more can fit." As Alex was waiting for the extra knives, Jack walked off to collect a bottle of cum from the fridge which he knew Alex would enjoy. "Back," Jack said, as he opened the bottle of cum and slowly pumped it into Alex's tight anus hole. While Alex was enjoying the cum, Ryan appeared with a potato. "Yum, mayonnaise," he said as he dipped the raw potato into the cum and ate it with such pleasure. The cum dribbled down Ryan's chin. Alex got turned on by this and his erection throbbed violently. "I'm gonna blow," Alex moaned, stroking the side of Ryan's dirty, bearded face. Ryan was so turned on by Alex's touch that he picked up a knife and entered it into his tight virgin hole. All three boys were moaning in pleasure, wanking each other off and telling each other dirty things. And with all this happening, they had forgotten that on the bed next to them, Zach was sleeping, naked. At first, the boys stopped what they were doing, frozen with shock. What if he wakes up?" Jack whispered to Alex. "Don't worry," Ryan grinned. "I've got a plan, tomato sauce." Ryan quickly grabbed another potato from the fridge and dipped it in some tomato sauce which he used as lube and shoved it up Zach's tight, sleeping ass. Zach moaned and woke up. At first he was in a panic. "Whoa," he smirked. Zach got up and bent over for Ryan. "Deeper, deeper," he whispered. Jack and Alex were busy with each other. Jack had his anus hole spread open ready for whatever Alex decided to shove down there. To Jack's surprise, Alex put the knife down and walked off. He quickly returned with the carrot which he then began to peel and forcefully shove into Jack's asshole, hitting his prostate on the first go. Jack moaned in pleasure. His moans were getting louder and louder with every thrust of the carrot in his anus. Alex pounded the carrot deeper and deeper into Jack until he couldn't take it anymore. Alex's penis was throbbing. It yearned to be wanked off. Zach and Ryan quickly came to aid. Zach began on Alex's ass, carefully removing the knives that Alex had forgotten were in there, and Ryan began on Alex's dick. Ryan held Alex's dick firmly in both of his hands and began to rub up and down. Both Alex and Ryan were moaning in pleasure while Zach was busy stuffing Alex's butthole. "Open up," Alex moaned, and with those words, Ryan shoved Alex's dick into his mouth and cum shot everywhere. While the boys were busy with Alex, they had completely ignored Jack, who looked like he had fallen asleep. They decided to let Jack be, and Zach lifted Jack up, still with the carrot in his anus, and put him into his bed. Zach made sure to put Jack on his stomach so nothing would happen to the carrot. Zach, Ryan and Alex began to clean up and called it a night. Little did they know what they would find the next morning. Alex woke up to find the rest of the boys were sound asleep. He went over to Zach and gave him a kiss on the cheek, rubbed Ryan's head and made his way over to Jack. Jack baby." Alex shook Jack's shoulder, but there was no response from Jack. "Jack, this isn't funny, wake up." Alex had a quiver of panic in his voice. He turned to Ryan, who was stretching his arms. "Good morning, Sunch WHOAH." "What is happening to Jack?" "Alex, look, what's that orange stuff coming out of his penis?" Ryan and Alex began to freak out. I don't know. Alex was now in a panic. "Should we take him to the hospital?" "What, and risk everyone find out we get sexual kicks out of carrots? What will the doctors think? Hell, what will our fans think?" Ryan's panic was turning into anger. "Well, I think they'd find it pretty hot," Zach joked. "You're no help, douchebag. Jack is dead and you make a joke about this?" Alex yelled at Zach. Zach didn't care. All he knew was that he was hungry, and he wanted food now. So he pulled a carrot out of Jack's now dead anus and took a bite. And boy, it tasted good. Both Alex and Ryan stared at Zach, who was now munching on more of the carrot. "What the fuck, man, what the fuck?" Ryan said in shock. "That was the grossest," Alex suggested, his voice quivering. Hottest thing I've ever seen. Ryan's dick twitched. Ryan would have to leave the thought of fucking Zach for later. But for now, they needed to find out what they would do with Jack's lifeless body, and fast. Whatever, I'm hungry. And you guys are boring, so I'm gonna go make some morning burritos, Zach said as he left the room, still chewing on the carrot that once filled Jack's tight anus. Ryan and Alex had no idea what to do next, so they joined Zach in the kitchen and began preparing the ingredients. Hey, we're out of beef, Alex called, his head buried in the fridge. What? Zach questioned. What about chicken? We're out of all meaty goods, Alex replied. There was a silence in the room before Alex came up with a brilliant idea. Guys, you know how Jack is dead, right? He smirked. Oh, no, Alex, that's just wrong. I mean, I'm hungry and all, but I'm not going to sink that low. Just because Jack is dead doesn't mean he isn't our friend anymore, Ryan said with a hint of sarcasm in his voice. The boys knew that eating Jack was the best thing to do. Soon enough, someone would have to explain what happened to him, and if the boys ate him, they could just simply say that he disappeared after their show in the Philippines. The boys made their way down to the bedroom, and surrounded Jack's lifeless body. Right. Well, I've got his feet. Alex, Ryan, you grab his hands and we'll carry him into the kitchen to be prepared. Zach already had a firm hold on Jack's feet. Ryan and Alex looked at each other before they grabbed one of Jack's hands each, and the boys carried Jack kitchen and laid him on the table. Seeing as it was Alex's idea, Ryan and Zach thought it would be appropriate that Alex started with the preparation. Alex stared at Jack's body. Shouldn't we have a moment of silence for Jack or something? Alex questioned, brushing his fingers through his hair. Ryan looked at Jack and then back at Alex. Well, I guess he did die for us. And being turned into a burrito, it's what he would want to be done with his body. Alex nodded. Does anyone want to say any words before we have our moment of silence? Alex offered. Yeah, sure, I'll say a few words, Ryan said. Jack, you were like a brother to me. You always made dick jokes and made fun of me. You were good at guitar, and I'm sorry I left that carrot in your anus. I hope you taste good. Well done, Ryan. What about you, Zach? Have anything to say? Alex perked. Zach shook his head and looked down at his feet. Right, well, you weren't really much of a talker anyway. He was last night, Ryan joked. Shut up, Ryan, Alex snapped. Now please think of your favorite memories with Jack as we have a minuet of silence. We love you, man, Alex softly spoke as he bowed his head. All was silent. Not even the birds outside were making a sound. It was like they knew that the world had lost a great man. A hero, a whisper, grrrr, Zach's stomach growled. Alex opened one of his eyes and looked at Zach. Good one, he said. I am just really hungry, Zach shyly said. Well, it was about a minute anyway, Ryan said, as he handed Alex a knife. Alex started by cutting Jack's chest in two. He took off the layer of meat and handed it over to Zach, who then began to fillet it. The boys all agreed that the meat was enough to satisfy their needs, and they would give the rest anonymously to the zoo. While Zach was preparing Jack's meat, Ryan and Alex started cooking the other burrito ingredients and had everything prepared. Finally, Zach was done with the meat. All that was left was cooking the meat off and then putting the burrito together. Zach dropped the meat into the pan and it immediately started to sizzle. Jack's never smelt better, Ryan giggled. Both Alex and Zach laughed in agreement. Once the meat was finished cooking, they chopped it into bite-sized pieces, sat down at the kitchen table and began to put their burritos together. For Jack, the boys made a toast with their burritos before taking their first bite. And boy, did the first bite satisfy them. They savored every single bite. You can really taste the Jack, Alex moaned in pleasure. And soon, the burritos were done. Jack was gone. Well, not exactly gone. He was inside of them, but that was beside the point. Alex felt miserable. He hated the fact that not only his best friend, but his lover was gone. There would be no more Jalex and he caused it. There would be no more stupid dick jokes, no more horny Lebanese boy, no more Jack. I honestly can't believe we just did that. Alex hit his fist against the table. Well, it was your idea to eat him, Zach burped. But Alex was mad. He was mad and upset, and nothing but writing could cure this feeling. Jack was gone. Forever. Alex got up from the kitchen table and made his way to the bedroom and sat down, and he began to write. Sing me to sleep, I'll see you in my feces, waiting to say I ate you and I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Alex began to tear up. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't live without Jack. And with that, Alex pushed his hair straightener right through his throat. By the time Ryan and Zach found him, it was too late. Alex was dead. Blood was dribbling from his mouth and neck. Ryan was in shock. He'd lost two of his best friends in under 2 days. What was he going to do? What would happen to all-time low? So many thoughts flew through his mind. His deep thought was soon interrupted by Zach. Hey man, that last burrito was really good. I could go for another one, if you know what I mean, Zach hinted at Ryan. And once the burritos were finished, Ryan and Zach joined Big Time Rush and lived happily ever after.